Hi, I'm here today in animation form because, well, frankly, I look better as a character. And second, a little bit of levity helps with a serious discussion like credit card fraud. Today, I want to talk to you about transactional credit card security that really, honestly works. As a banker, you have to always be looking to increase profits and decrease fraud losses in your card program. So, I want to introduce you to the most robust anti-fraud card program available. And not just because I said so. Our patented program is already deployed and is ready to integrate into your card program immediately, right now. Our anti-fraud program, or AFC, is a game changer for issuers. So first, a little about our organization and why we're uniquely qualified to help your bank virtually eliminate card fraud. See, about 7 years ago, we were challenged to develop an anti-fraud technology to reduce credit card fraud. What we did is we put together a team of former IBM programmers to develop a bulletproof technology to reduce or eliminate fraud. See, the weaknesses in EMV just aren't being addressed. Our team reasoned that technology needed to eliminate fraudulent use before the transaction event got started, while at the same time permitting the initiation and completion of the transaction in the 3-second window required by Visa and MasterCard. Now remember, all security measures utilized today are based on stopping or blocking a transaction before it's finished. Our results have been perfect so far. You see, in the past 6 years, not one single fraudulent or unauthorized transaction has taken place. I mean nada, none, zip, zilch. Now, we know you're moving towards EMV, and that's fine. But as you know, there's been a lot of consternation about when EMV will actually be deployed, or will it be required? And if so, is it going to work? But here's my promise to you. Our anti-fraud card will work with or without EMV. AFC is superior to EMV, and it works in every transaction environment. And I'll prove it if you give me just a few more minutes. And as you well know, EMV technology just hasn't proved to be effective in card not present transactions. And so far, they've had 2 decades to work it out. So consider this. AFC will protect you from fraud in any card not present transaction. AFC will protect against online fraudulent transactions. It'll work on phone order transactions. Even in the event that the consumer's data has been breached, the card can't be used fraudulently. AFC will work in face-to-face transactions, and it'll work without PIN or signature verification just as effectively. So consider a few of the benefits of AFC versus EMV. The cost of implementation of AFC is a third of the cost of EMV. And you're able to deploy it right now. It's ready to go. Consumers already embrace the simple technology that's used to make AFC effective. And not one single card issued with AFC technology has ever had an incident of fraud. EMV simply can't protect card not present transactions. So think about this. Volcker, the Nielsen research company, reports that roughly 44% of all book sales last year were purchased online. You don't have to look very hard to discover the explosive growth of online and phone purchases. You know, AFC has proved to be unique enough to be granted a patent protection. You should also know we've had several unofficial conversations with a high-ranking OCC compliance enforcement executives, and we were told that our AFC technology is superior solution to any anti-fraud protection available. including EMV. You know, another reality is you have a tremendous investment in computers and software that won't protect you in a card not present transaction. So how often is a cardholder's account frozen while traveling or at the most inconvenient times for the cardholder? AFC doesn't depend on your customer service agents calling at inconvenient times or being able to reach the cardholder. AFC flat out stops skimming, compromised POS systems, counterfeited cards, or the dangers that are inherent with RFID technology. You know, and one of the best benefits for bankers and consumers is that AFC puts consumers in charge of their own security. The bank doesn't need to be the frontline defense with AFC. Cardholders want to control their own security, and AFC gives them the opportunity to do so. Now let me explain how AFC works. Just as you separate the accounting from the assets, we separate the card from the essential approval of the card transaction. So how do we do this? By allowing the cardholder to approve the transaction via their cell phone. Now, as you well know, you have less than 3 seconds to respond to the transaction when it comes in from MasterCard. This challenge took us a little bit of time to figure out. But what you may not know is that the architect of this technology is the same person that made the virtual card a reality almost 10 years ago. AFC is simple, yet extremely effective. The cardholder utilizes their cell phone to allow a transaction to go through before the transaction occurs. Here's how it's done. The cardholder activates a button on their smartphone 5 minutes before the transaction occurs. 5 minutes is the default setting. We surmise nothing else is required but a window of time. The less time allowed, the less chance of fraud. Also, bear in mind, 5 minutes is the default setting, which consumers can change on their own. We also provided the cardholder with a host of additional options, such as allowing them to turn the card on or off. Other options include allowing transactions to pass through from their most frequently used merchant sites or favorite vendors, and other options that enhance security. Also, changing these options, as I said, and the security approvals can be done from their smartphone. Here's an interesting piece of information. In January of 2014, one survey indicated that approximately 91% of American adults have a cell phone, and 61% have a smartphone. And these numbers keep growing. More encouraging is that 89% of the people with a bank account or credit card have a smartphone. So, the vast majority of your card holders have smartphones. And guess what? 88% are either currently using or planning to use their smartphones for banking and or an electronic wallet. Now, do you think it's time to implement this sort of security for your card holders and your shareholders? Most bankers are concerned with whether they can use this with their current system. Absolutely. Actually, it's preferable to implement the AFC with your current system. They'll work in concert to deliver the best of both worlds. Other bankers want to know how hard it is to implement this. Well, it's really pretty simple, but the degree of implementation depends on the features and the depth of your involvement in the process. One, we can provide you with the process flow and you put together the system yourself. You'll need to create a secure website that accepts data from smartphones. You'll program your system to identify the cardholders that are using the AFC system and identify the transactions that have just been approved. Since the website doesn't really require much in graphics, it should be pretty easy to build. Number two, An alternative is we'll implement the website and inform you when the approval button is activated, and you can flag your program with the information for the next transaction or transactions. Number 3, we're also able to provide some or any portion of the above mentioned products, or we can do a turnkey solution for you. Also, we don't store any bank information. We simply pass information through to the bank. If you create the website, it wouldn't store information. It would only send the secure information to the program, letting it know the cell phone button has been activated, as well as the time of expiration. So, when AFC is deployed, it'll develop a profitable card program for any size bank, as well as a high degree of customer confidence and customer satisfaction. Remember, the consensus with the OCC enforcement folks we talked to is that AFC is a superior technology system to anything currently in the marketplace, including the legacy EMV technology. EMV reduced fraud, but it didn't eliminate fraud. AFC has not experienced one incident of fraud or misuse of any card, not one. EMV does not address online, telephone, or internet ordering. AFC does address card not present like no other solution. Could AFC experience fraud? Of course, but it's highly unlikely if the defaults are utilized. AFC's system is many times easier to implement than EMV and far less expensive and requires significantly less infrastructure changes. So, AFC has been tested for the past 6 years. It is multiple times less expensive than EMV conversion. It works with all platforms, including Jack Henry's. The cardholders are allowed to control their security, turn their card on and off, approve specific locations and/or vendors, adjust controls to their pattern of spending, and a whole lot more. The AFC or anti-fraud card is so unique, it is patented technology. The architect and patent holder of AFC technology is the same architect and inventor of the virtual card technology. His name is Harry Williams. Harry is a well-seasoned IBM programmer. He has owned a bank holding company. He's a writer of card software and an advisor and consultant to banks. The banks utilizing AFC technology thus far have not experienced a single incident of fraud as a result of the breach debacles of Target, Neiman Marcus, or Michaels. So give us a call. Let us set you up with a demonstration and show you how simple and effective AFC will be for your bank. Thanks for your time, and thanks for listening.
AntiFraudCard system can virtually make any MasterCard, Visa, Discover, or JBC card fraud proof. Yes, it's the truth. Easy to set up by banks, MasterCard and Visa. Protect yourself. It couldn't be easier. AFC system, make your card fraud